Hi guys, welcome to the 5th episode of Score Couch, where we talk about IT, software development, backend, front-end, UX, UI design, everything that has to do with digital. And today we are going to cover the topic that is somehow connected to digital. It's very important, but it's not quite obvious. Here at Score Couch, today with us is Weronika. Weronika.
Hello.
Weronika is head of people at Score. And just to remind you guys, my name is Olaf. I'm one of the co-founders. And today we will cover things that have to do with HR and people and recruitment.
Correct.
So Weronika, tell us who you are, what you do.
So as you said, I'm head of people in Score. So this is my position, and that means that whole area of HR is on my plate, like the hard stuff, like administration, stuff like that. But mostly, and this is more like my area of expertise and interest, soft HR. So everything that is related to basically how people feel in the company, how do they perform, do they want to stay in the company? So everything related to that. So I think that this is very wide area, because there is, as you said, HR is connected to digital, and I would say it's not somehow connected. I would say like this is super connected. Like every part that you mentioned is done by human, right?
Sure.
So everything, basically every department of the IT company is somehow attached to HR as well.
Okay. So it all sounds pretty fragile.
Yeah.
What is the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear about, I think, the most fragile of fragile topics, which is recruitment in IT?
IT recruitment. So, there's this saying, easy peasy lemon squeezy, I bet you know it. So it's not the first words that comes to my mind when I say IT recruitment. For me, it's rather difficult, difficult, difficult.
Okay.
so that's Fair the enough. Case. And don't get me wrong, but because this is very good position. This is a position when you learn a lot. You meet every day. You meet new people. For me, it's awesome. This is also a start for very good career. So there are parts of recruitment that I really truly love, but it's very difficult to find the right person in right time for the right money, because it's not like you have to find capable person who, I don't know, would like to start in the right time. There are also many factors more to it. Sometimes this person needs to have, I don't know, some kind of certificate, because this is what clients wants, for example, right? Also, you have to, you always have this budget that you can go, let's say, between, right? So basically, almost every day you're being asked to find a unicorn, and if it would be best if this unicorn could start from yesterday. Yeah. This is the best scenario.
And for the salary of the intern.
Yes, okay. Exactly.
Perfect.
So basically this is very challenging, but you have to do it, because these people have to start in the project. So if you know that there is no way around, like you have to find these people, you start to think in creative way. So I think that this is another plus of being recruitment. So to sum up this is very difficult job, but very rewarding.
Okay, I say the same thing about sales.
Yeah. I think that recruitment and sales are pretty the same.
Yeah, pretty similar.
Yeah,
you could say. Yeah, because after all, the client could be like the candidates. I think could be seen as a client, although you are facing someone else, right?
Exactly.
You're hunting for a lead.
Exactly, and I consider both my candidates as my clients and also my hiring managers as my clients. So I have like clients with sometimes interests that stands in conflict, and you have to manage it in an effective way. So so this is also another difficulty, but also a way to upgrade your soft skills, I would say.
Yeah. So for sure you learn and you develop when you work with people. That's a must.
Oh yeah, you do.
Okay, so how do you start the process of recruitment? What do you need to have in place?
Okay, so for sure you have to have positive attitude. Like, this is number one. you have to have this. You have to be sure, or at least convinced, that you are going to find this person. And I kind of said that as a joke, but actually this is the truth, because back in the days when I was asked for looking for very uncommon positions, at the beginning it's easy to think like, I won't do that. There are no people like that on the market. I typed in this tool in LinkedIn, and there are like 30 people in the whole country, for example, right?
Okay.
but it is doable. You just have to think in solutions, not in problems. And this is step one. This is very difficult. Also, you have to prepare everything. Prepare every step. You need to know how the recruitment process is going to go, to communicate that to candidates, and be prepared that this process will change like few times, probably in 2 weeks.
Okay.
So you have to be prepared for that. But you have to have some kind of solid ground. You have to ask hiring managers how would they like to check a candidate's skills. Do they want to have some recruitment task or only talk with them? You have to push hiring managers so they decide. Because if you don't, they would probably say, yeah, just start with meetings and we'll see. It's not good enough for candidate, because if you're an active candidate and you're looking actually for a job, then you are going to go for several conversations. And I think that this is not okay to, for example, ask a candidate to come to 5 or even 7, because this is what happened in my previous career, to 5 or 7 meetings, if they are not necessary, because there are ways to cut it to 3. So I think that that kind of grounds for the beginning of process are crucial.
Okay, that's interesting. 7 meetings.
Yeah.
In the recruitment process.
In a row, to add.
Okay. Okay. Sounds awesome. But is that the case that the more challenging the process, or the better described, and when it sounds like a challenging process for a candidate, he or she is more likely to participate? Like, you mean that he or she will feel that this is a challenge, so I would like to face it? Yeah, something like that. Is that the case, or not exactly?
Actually, it depends on the candidate, because for some of them, this would be something like, this is a true challenge, I want to test myself, I want to prove myself, and I want to see if after so long process with meetings with so experienced people, I will pass. But I don't think that this is majority. I think that the process should be a challenge, that's for sure. But so I'm not saying that process should be easy for candidates. Like, say a few things about yourself and then we are good to go. So process should be a challenge, but it shouldn't be
overcomplicated. Exactly.
So you don't want to have overkill, to meet when this is not necessary, because it's not challenging. It's kind of exhausting, even, I would say, for candidate. So you have to find this balance.
Yeah, I remember the story, not in our industry, but I remember that back in the day, my wife has participated in the recruitment process for. It was an interesting job, let's say, and it was an interesting job. It was about finding the new innovative ways and things to be published in Poland. So it was very interesting process, and the process seemed pretty interesting. So the first one was like the concept of presentation, then there was a meeting, and then there was I think a summary of of a book, like a review of a book written in English, something like that. So to just to double check the English skills or something like that. And finally, she did not get feedback, although like everything was positive. So like they were amazed with the presentation, they were amazed with the conversation, they were amazed with the result of the task. Like that was not in place at the beginning of the recruitment process, and then they have not called her back. And when she like requested that feedback, because she was like, okay, I've really devoted a lot of time to and effort to prepare everything for you. They've just said like a poor excuse that they've hired someone else. So it was a bizarre series of events, and I remember that she was very frustrated at that time.
For me, it's like I really cannot understand that, because what we are talking about are good practices in recruitment, right? So it might sound, because every profession has some kind of good practices, and probably if you are not experienced in, I don't know, programming, you don't know what are good practices. But when it comes to recruitment, I think that it's like a basic human
interaction,
exactly, because you don't have to read a book or be up to date with recruitment or HR influencers to know that if you are asking a person to a conversation, any kind of conversation, it doesn't have to be a recruitment conversation, any kind of conversation, you have to give some feedback, some follow-up. You have to say how it went. So because like recruitment processes are changing very frequently. This is what's happening. So you can't influence that. But what you can influence is to tell to the candidate, listen, some things has changed. We are putting this recruitment on hold. We already hired somebody else. Perfect scenario is when you are sending the whole feedback, like your weak sides in our opinion, what you should develop in our opinion, what are your traits that are perfect for our company.
Where are the gaps? Yeah.
Exactly. So this is the perfect scenario. But if for some reason you cannot collect it, because let's say that your hiring manager is so occupied that it's you tried, you pushed, but it's not possible to get this feedback. Okay, so don't, but at least tell this person that she or he didn't pass, because I can imagine that this can be super frustrating. And after that, there is this stereotypes about recruitment processes, about recruiters, that they are not giving feedback, that this is very stressful event, and it shouldn't be like that, because this is what it is. This is a conversation. Conversations shouldn't be stressful and shouldn't be like that. So I think that give any feedback, but just let these people know if they are going to the next stage or if they don't.
Yeah, another similarity with sales. So to you and everyone out there, if you are being a client in any context and someone is trying to sell anything to you, that can be annoying. I know that can be frustrating, especially when someone is pinging you constantly. But
yeah.
Very frustrating moment for salespeople, no matter if you're selling, cookies or hundreds, thousands of dollars projects like we do. When you don't get a response, why we are not being chosen, or why you have decided to be silent, or whatever, like just an information, like we decided to go with another company because they were more they were nicer, they were more qualified in that department, like whatever you need.
Yeah.
Like this is, I think, the most frustrating of the of being a salesperson.
Yeah, and I'm wondering, well, like, why do we change that? Because on daily basis, you are being a nice person, you are being a communicative person to others, and when you are in this like new relation with recruiter or with salesman or something like that, you are like changing. Of course, not everybody, but some people are changing their traits. I can understand that. I even started to, sometimes you have this opportunity to be in touch with some sales assistant, let's say. For example, you are, I don't know, ordering books or clothes from the internet or other services, and sometimes they are stand out in their client services approach, and I started to give them feedback because I thought that probably most of people reach them when they have problem or when they have to complain, and I thought that this has to be a difficult job. So I thought that if some customer service is really good, I started to give these people feedback because I thought that this is how you should do that. Communicate with people proactively, also if they are good to you, not only when you have to complain.
Exactly. Imagine that you going to the like a grocery store or any small shop in your neighborhood, and someone is asking you, and an assistant asking you a question. Would you like something else, sir? And you are. Yeah. You go silent. You're not responding. So like it's a similar situation, but it's via email or
exactly.
or a call. So
exactly. So the only thing that is changing is channel.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Good point. But going back to the recruitment and the process, what do you think is the most important in defining the requirements? So like what needs to be there for sure?
Okay, so I think that must-haves are must-haves. You have to have them. But what is more important is to let's say negotiate with hiring manager what is really must-have. Like that candidate has to have it, but what are nice-to-haves. Or maybe what is like somewhere in between. Like I really like this candidate to have this skill, because the initial state of every hiring manager, which is understandable, is that I would like it all. I want the perfect
unicorn.
Candidate. Exactly, unicorn. I want somebody perfect. Actually, I would like 3 persons like that, because I would like to meet them, to compare them
and
choose. And sometimes, after 3rd candidate, they are very good, but I would like to meet more. Sometimes stuff like that happens. So as a recruiter, I think that recruiter has this role of owning the process. I think that the recruiter is a process owner, let's say. So I really think that you should show the reality to hiring managers. Of course, we don't want to hire just anybody, but we want to hire the best candidate. And sometimes there must be some must-have that might be learned in, 3 months. And we will reject a candidate that doesn't have it. Only because of this gap, and this candidate might be with the best approach, somebody who would like to commit to the project, to working within a team, somebody who is proactive. So I think that this is like a losing game for the company. So this is why I think that the most important when it comes to requirements is to truly pick what is truly must-haves and what are nice to haves, and not and if you know that your hiring manager is a person who will start with whole package, like don't leave the room until you negotiated something. Okay.
We've mentioned a lot about unicorns and a lot about all of the skills combined, everything. Is there any place that is a unicorn hatchery where you should look for the candidates?
Yeah, sometimes I wonder, maybe there is like some kind of meetups when you can go and hijack people, kidnap people, and I'm pretty sure that every recruiter at some point of their career is thinking about stuff like that.
Okay, so a dream scenario.
Yeah. But well, I don't think I didn't find this perfect place where other recruiters don't know about, and you can attract every candidate. I think that it's not about the place, it's more about your offer, because this is the similarity with sales. When you are sending the offer to the candidate, you are selling this offer to the candidate. You have to attract their attention, so you have to think kind of like them. You have to think what do you have in your offer that might be sexy for the candidate? What is selling points? What is more important to put it like higher in your message? And what are things that might be not so important and put it below? Probably he or she will get messages like that, like 5 a day. So if you are lucky, they will start reading first 2-3 sentences, and this is the point when you're catching the attention, right? So you have to create this message in a creative way, in a way that could actually attract attention. This is what I would say. And also to clarify, it's not because this message has to be sexy, this message has to sell, but this message cannot lie. So you have to create very attractive offer, but not like we have the most modern stack, technical stack that you can imagine, and we have very good process and stuff like that. And after this person is starting the work, it turns out that there's only juniors, and you are using only old school technologies and stuff like that, because like I cannot imagine to face this person, I don't know, in front of the coffee machine or something like that. So I can imagine lying in such a message, but you have to make it sexy.
Okay. Okay, so the message has to be sexy, it has to be interesting. How about the job offer? Is there, because I've noticed that it's getting, I don't know if more and more popular, but I see that a lot, that some job offers are, written in a way that is that they do not look like a job ad. It's like a letter from a CEO of a company, or a couple of sentences of pitch or something like that. Do you think that it works? Does it affect?
I do. I really do. I think that this job offers should be creative as well, because if you put just, hello, we are software from Krakow, these are the requirements, these are the what we can offer, and so on, it probably won't work, because offers like that are multiple in the market, and probably people will filter by the salary, for example, right? If there is nothing that will stand out in your offer. So I think that you have to, in job offer like that, you have to highlight the true, like how your company is different, to really highlight it. If your company has this very funny, jokey vibe, let's say, go for something more brave, I would say, something more on edge, and try something like that, because the worst thing that you can do is to be Mr. Nobody, I would say. So you have to be somehow, you have to move some emotions, move something to start some thoughts in the
to
candidate.
get attention.
Yes, exactly. So, but letter from CEO could be also a very good idea. I think that we might try it.
Okay, so the creativity is for sure on the list of should have skills of a recruiter.
Yeah.
What are the others? Patience?
Oh, yeah. Yes, a lot of patience, I would say, and this ability to there is this idiom in Polish that you are biting your tongue. I don't know if the English is that as well. That you need to bite your tongue sometimes, because you have to be professional, and sometimes candidates don't have to be professional. Let's face it.
Technically, but going back to our sales conversation, I think they should.
I think they should.
That's a thing of a cultural approach to stuff, right?
I totally agree, but they can afford not to be.
Sure.
In IT.
Yeah, so far.
It's so far, but even though, like for example in Score, we are hiring for skills for sure, but we are also hiring for attitude. So we wouldn't hire a person who is rude on the recruitment interview, right? Because we are doing our best to be professional, to be nice, to be prepared for the conversation. Make this effort as well. So, but even though that I know that I won't hire this person, I am on this meeting and I hear some stuff that I would like to comment, but you can't, right? On this, at least not how you would like to. So I think that this is also some skill that you have to have. But also, like, you have to have this craftsmanship of recruiter, let's say, like this really technical skills, let's say, that you have to know how to ask questions, in which order, how to facilitate the recruitment meeting. If you are also a sourcing recruiter, you have to know how to source. So these are skills like I would say must have, because if you don't have creativity, I wouldn't say that you can't be a recruiter if you are not creative.
Yeah, you just will probably work a bit harder than the others.
Exactly. So it's not like a must-have. It's something that would make your work more fun and easier. Also, I think that you have, and I would say that this is a must-have, that you have to be very good with people. You have to have a lot of tact. You have to know how to manage the conversation during the meeting, because sometimes hiring managers don't know that. So this is also something very important. And also you have to be good with people, not only on the meeting, but sometimes you will be required to give your feedback to hiring managers, because they don't have to be professional recruiters. They just know what they would like to know from the candidate.
Sure.
But sometimes they might make some jokes that are not really appropriate, or don't come prepared, or be distracted on the meeting.
Sure.
So you have to be
assertive,
yes, and brave enough to feedback these people, even though sometimes they are going to be like your managers.
Sure.
So I think that this is very important, that recruiter is not a person who is just inviting candidate to the meeting, giving the water and asking, like, tell us about your experience. No, this is not the recruiter in my eyes.
Okay, so the recruiters are covered. How about developers?
Mm-hmm.
I think another it is a bit unicornish topic, because all of the customers would like to start from yesterday, right?
Yeah. Every customer.
Do it as soon as possible and as cheap as possible, of course, and also only with senior people.
Yeah, of course.
So what's the difference? What's the difference between junior and senior, if you were to say?
In general, it's hard to say, because junior in SCORE might be senior somewhere else, senior from some other company might be junior in our company. So I don't think that there are some universal requirements for each position. Of course, they are kind of similar between companies, but I don't think that they are so universal. But basically, I think that what is the difference is that when you're junior, you can afford mistakes. Like, everybody is entitled, I would say, to make mistakes. But if you're a junior, you can make more mistakes. Sure. You can do silly mistakes. You should be able not to know stuff, because you should have some mentors or seniors who would answer your question, even though you asked it several times this week. So it's not a privilege of senior, but I think that if you are junior, you should have more comfort. Like, company should give you more comfort, because you are probably a little stressed. You don't know a lot of stuff. You look at these senior developers like for the Gandalf character.
Okay.
So I think that when you're junior, you are entitled to make mistakes, and that you shouldn't be pushed to solve very complicated problems. But if you're a senior developer, of course you have to have senior technical skills, right? But I think that what is equally important is that you have this seniorish approach to the project, like that all team knows that they can rely on you.
So you have the ownership of what you do and how do you do it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes, this is how I would call it, and also that from my perfect imagine of senior is also as somebody who is proactively sharing their knowledge, because it won't happen that you are going to be in a team with with seniors, with only seniors. Probably there are teams like that out there. I'm not saying that this is not possible, but this is not very common. So if you're senior, you will going to work with medium developers and juniors as well. So you should share your knowledge proactively. You should also be able to give feedback to your coworkers, and you should know how to give this feedback because you want it to be effective, and you don't want to be a senior developer who will tell this junior guy, listen, your code is like this is useless. You
or
don't
crap.
or crap. You can't do anything. Like, did you see the keyboard in your life?
Yes. So you should be also mindful of
Exactly.
that they are beginning their journey.
Exactly, and I think that senior developer basically kind of has to be good with people as well, because this is this stereotype from back then that developers are rather introverted and they don't want to speak with people and stuff like that. Sure, part of them are like that, but I think that it's only stereotype. I know a lot of the great developers who are communicating with a team, who are communicating with the client. And client is also another like part of this skill set of senior in my eyes. You need to be able to communicate with clients, and you know it best that communicating with a client is skill, is a skill,
Definitely.
is concrete skill. So you have to learn that.
I think that's a very important one.
Yeah.
I think that the difference for me, the difference between junior and senior is the fact that with senior you can have also a sales conversation in
Yeah.
which he can fill in the gaps that I cannot
Yeah.
from a technology perspective. He
Yeah.
can, proactively talk about what he has done in the past,
Exactly.
what kind of problems he's facing on a daily basis in a different projects. Like I do believe that in our business it's almost impossible for one person, especially salesperson with very little knowledge, which is usually the case of a technical stuff, to sell a project by themselves.
Exactly.
Right, but
Exactly.
so people have to participate. So this proactiveness of a senior developer, engineer, specialist on
Yeah.
a call, I think sometimes is instrumental in order to
I agree.
get client on board.
I agree, and also the same with recruitment, because we are inviting our senior developers to recruitment
Same
processes.
stuff, yeah.
So they're also like meeting with our clients that are candidates. So this is another example that you have to be good with people. You don't have to be like senior developer plus HR plus salesperson. It's not this direction, but you have to have some of the skill set of I would say even leader, of a salesperson, because there are these two paths. You can go to be a leader, you can go to be expert, and you can go to expert if you don't really like to deal with people. But let's say that you're expert, you know everything about your field, and you're not really able to organize your work, for example, or you are not really you don't want to talk with juniors and share their knowledge with their knowledge. So like you're this one expert in the company, that company can't actually benefit from your skills because you are using them only for yourself, and you are not like scaling them for the others. So I think that this stuff that I told you about are really important.
Okay. How about more maybe not holistic, but at least global approach? What do you think is important, and what should companies like ours, or any other companies that have their own digital product that are looking to recruit people, should remember about?
To
best practices, things to follow, things
Right.
that you must have in place.
But you mean to start working in a product team, right?
Like, what should be from a organizational perspective, what in your opinion is instrumental or important in order to have a good sales process? So what should be in place from a company perspective?
To have a good sales process, or to hire
to have a good recruitment process, you know? So like if you were to list 5 things that company needs to have.
Good practices about the recruitment process.
Yes, exactly.
Okay,
exactly.
Because you said sales process.
Oh, so I saw.
But it's kind of the same.
My mistake. Yes, it's kind of the same.
Okay, so what are important things? I think that very important is this sprint zero phase, let's say, that this preparation phase, to like establish who is going to review the candidates, how we are going to review the candidates, what should we ask them during the screening, but also collect every information about the position, because for example, you can hire for a QA position when part of the duties are automating tests and part of are manual tests. For some candidates, it might be deal breaker. So you want to collect stuff like that and tell to the candidates, the whole offer on the first meeting, because you don't want to find very good candidates and tell them at third meeting, listen, and by the way, you have to relocate to Krakow, or by the way, you have to do something that we didn't talked about before. Of course, it might be the case that the requirements changed, but you're packaging it in a different way. Like I know that we didn't discuss it, but it changed like recently. This is the different situation. So I think that preparation is a key. Like I think in every situation in life, basically.
Gallup skills, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So you have to be very well prepared. Another thing is that you have to be, I'm going to use this word, agile and flexible, because so what that you prepare this perfect process? So what if it's not working? Because you have more candidates than you expected. You have less candidates than you expected. Your hiring manager started to work in some in some project that needs a lot of his or her time. So you have to be like, maybe not almost every day, but for sure every week, you have to think of optimization. You have to think, is there anything that I could change to make this process faster, more effective? And maybe there are some things that don't work. Maybe we decided with hiring manager that, yeah, we want senior person, but you looked for these people for whole week, there are nobody interested. So you have to go renegotiate. Like, don't wait, because these people probably won't start wanting to
reappear.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I think that the recruiter has to think like there is no time to waste. So I think that this is also a good practice. In this preparation phase, it is a good thing to agree with hiring manager that he or she will deliver a feedback for candidate. Because if they will commit that they will do, they probably will do. But if you won't tell them in advance that you need them to...
And you expect us.
Yeah, exactly. They will probably tell you, yes, sure, I will do that like this week, and they won't do that.
Okay.
So you want to establish that as well. Yeah, I think that these are two most important things, because after that, it depends on a process. Sometimes a good practice will be to have this recruitment task in the beginning. Sometimes it will be to have this recruitment task at the end of the recruitment process. It really depends. From my perspective, it's rather best to have recruitment task in the beginning of the process, but it depends on the position.
Okay. Do you have any advices
for recruiters?
for all of the recruiters out there?
Don't give up.
Don't give up. Keep fighting.
Keep fighting.
Okay. Same goes for all salespeople. Never give up.
We are all in the same.
Keep pushing. Yeah.
keep pushing. Exactly.
But yeah, any other advices or best practices, like, or do you feel that?
Own the process. This is what I would say.
Okay.
I think, and I also think that this is not so so easy and so obvious, because be nice, be prepared, know what kind of position you are recruiting for. This is obvious. Like do that, but also own the process. Don't agree if you see that your hiring manager is, I don't know, demanding something that is not possible, or would like you to give to candidate the offer, but it's like 30% of their initial expectations, stuff like that. So be sure that you feel like an owner and like stand your ground.
Stand your ground, guys. Own your processes.
Yeah.
Whatever, sales or recruitment. Yeah, and follow us, subscribe us here on YouTube to support us. Let us know what you would like us to talk about in the next episodes. Thanks, Weronika, for being here.
Thank you very much.
Thanks all of you, and yeah, let's stay in touch.